Forgive the squinting. The sun's out. It's not actually because I'm surrounded by liberals, though they make me squint too when they start talking. I decided I wanted to do another video on an even more sensitive subject than the two that I have posted recently that will probably upset a lot of people who are my natural allies. Though what I have to say may actually upset even more people, and I apologize because that's not my intention. I'm just attempting to move the narrative forward. The sun's out. It's my day off. I'll have to be in for 14 hours or so. So I'm enjoying a beer. Unfortunately, it's Mexican beer. Corona will do. I prefer German beer. But I can't get my favorite brand of German beer here anymore. Just another reason to move away from these liberals. They have no taste. But I wanted to talk about abortion. Roe versus Wade. First, I want to attack the liberal argument that people that are pro-life are foolish because they usually support the death penalty. That you can't be pro-life and support the death penalty. Actually, you can. Because a child, or if you prefer, a fetus, is an innocent being. It has committed no crime. It has committed no sin. It is completely innocent. It is impossible for a child to commit a crime that young, especially when in vitro. Someone who has been sentenced to death has been convicted of some of the most heinous crimes in society. Because even people that commit murder, even first-degree murder, do not get the death penalty. You have to commit an extreme act for the courts to go through the trouble and extra expense to seek the death penalty for you. It is not just dished out for every manslaughter charge. So the argument that you cannot support both is null and void. It's completely illogical. My problem with Roe versus Wade is not even the taking of a life. Because I've seen a lot, and human life just doesn't mean that much to me. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. Human life doesn't have as high a meaning to me as it does to many people. My problem with abortion, mainly Roe versus Wade, is judicial activism. Because the Supreme Court used Roe versus Wade to take away states' rights. If Roe versus Wade was overturned tomorrow, that does not mean that instantly abortion would be outlawed throughout the country. No. That just means that each state will have the right to decide whether or not it wants to allow legalized abortion in its borders. And if they do, what the parameters will be for such a procedure. By the Supreme Court sticking their nose into it and hijacking the Constitution, they basically, it's judicial activism. There's no basically to it. It is judicial activism. It is the court sticking its nose into an area and usurping the Constitution for its own ideological beliefs. That is not the purpose of the Supreme Court. It is not the purpose. It's not what our founding fathers intended. So my biggest problem with Roe versus Wade and abortion is the judicial activism, because it is an issue that should be left up to the states. It should not be a federal issue. The 9th Amendment and 10th Amendment to the Constitution guarantee this. I'm sorry, you end up with a small group of elites that believe they know what is best for society, so they push that on society. And it's the same thing that's developing with the same-sex marriage debate. It's going into the courts, and the courts are pushing it because the courts believe they know what is best. They are the ultra-educated. They are the elite of society. It is the duty of the rest of us to just accept their wisdom. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. We have a Constitution, and it's there for a reason. If you don't like the Constitution, change it. If you can't change it, guess what? You're the reason why it's there. Not much else to say other than that. Other than the fact that, much the same as the same-sex marriage debate is becoming a very hot issue since it's going into the courts, it can be the same problem that came of abortion and has lasted for 40 years. If the Supreme Court had not got involved in the abortion debate, the issue most likely would have been solved by now. But by getting involved and making a bigger issue of it, the court has created the problem. Which is what happens when liberals stick their nose in and think, I know best, just accept what I have to say. The only downside is not enough people have come to the realization yet to smack it down and put the court in its place. Just food for thought.